Well, I think it's really important to keep the culture of movies alive. I mean, it is so very easy to just download anything and sit in your home and everything's digitalized. But there's something so wonderful about just getting out, going to a movie, seeing things on a big screen. It's a different feeling. Sharing it with an audience. Um, there's nothing like it, and it is a part. It's such part of Americana, which we need to keep all this stuff going. I sort of feel like we're losing a sense of that, but I also feel that it's going to come back because people will miss it, for sure. Well, it's a very old building. I understand it was built in 1929. The fact that it's still a working theater is fantastic. That the enthusiasm behind, keeping a place like this going is wonderful. Um, and being able to, for me personally, being able to share this little movie that I did so long ago with people who are still fans, who are passing this thing down to their children. I mean, I just love it. And anytime I get an opportunity to be a part of something like this, I'm 100% there. Well, yeah, I mean, the fans for Night of the Comet and Last Starfighter specifically, because it wasn't such a massive release, I don't have hundreds of thousands of people, clamoring to get to me on the street or anything like that, but the fans of these movies are passionate. Um, they seem to have been a huge part of their childhood, and at a time of transition in their childhood, usually early teens, something like that, where we all go through that, really trying to find ourselves as people, as young adults. And I always say that these films are maybe like the first movie that they got to go to by themselves without their parents. They've sort of graduated from Disney or something like that to this more edgier sort of storytelling and viewing experience. I've met so many incredible people. There was a lot of, with Night of the Comet specifically, because this is a movie that's sort of driven by two female characters, which is unusual even today. Has had a real positive effect on girls specifically, given them a sense of independence and strength and power, and yes, we can do these things on our own. And also, I remember one time I was doing a convention, and this grown-up man and woman came up to our table, and they were just so excited to meet. Kelly Maroney was there as well, who plays my sister. They were literally shaking, and they were talking away. And then they brought out this little comic book that they had drawn themselves when they were children. They'd watched this movie so many times that they created a comic book of Night of the Comet with little stick figures. That was one of the coolest things. I just loved that. It's always an eye-opening experience. I mean, I was saying earlier that I only really found out that there was some sort of a almost cult following behind Night of the Comet and Last Starfighter about maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago. Sort of heard it. I couldn't believe it. I only started doing conventions and meet and greets and things like that probably 5 years ago. So I was sort of blown away. I thought, why would anybody want to meet and greet me? I just did this little tiny movie that I hadn't really heard anything about for 20 years. So it's very gratifying. I'm just pleased to have been a part of it, a part of something that has hung in there for as long as it has. and that I get to meet the young kids who watch the movie as well. Their parents have introduced them to it. It's astonishing, really, but it's great. I love it, and if I can encourage the next generation to not only enjoy this kind of movie, but even maybe think about stories that they can tell in film as well. That's great. Love it. Well, you have to be passionate about it. The thing about, if you ever get a role in a movie, they talk about that being bitten by the bug thing. It's so true. My daughter had a small role in a movie that I was doing, and that's what she wanted to do. She majored in theater in college, but to sustain a career, you just have to be passionate about it and just relentless, just going after it all the time, because there are a lot of people trying to do the same thing, and but maybe not everybody has the passion and the drive that you do. And learn about the business of the business, as well as the artistic side of the business as well. Get lots of good training, establish your foundation, and then just go for it. Just jump in, head first, eyes closed, and go. Swim upstream, hard as you can.
Is that what you did?
Well, I started out as a dancer, and that's also a very, very difficult career. So I had that sort of discipline. I mean, you have to have incredible discipline to be a dancer. When I ended up in the first movie that I did, I actually originally auditioned as a dancer, and they ended up casting me in the lead female role, which was pretty cool. I didn't really understand what I was getting myself into. So when the bloom was off the rose in terms of just landing this role, and I really learned that I had to work very, very hard and, again, establish a foundation. I think the fact that I started out as a dancer and that sort of discipline helped me enormously. This is Catherine Mary Stewart. I just want to welcome you here to the Pocono Cinema and Cultural Center and encourage you all to come down and check out some of the incredible movies that they have here and some of the events that are hosted as well. It's a beautiful little old theater and definitely worth a visit.